Hi, this is Dr. John Bergdorf. Before you do any of the other media assignments or homework for section 1.6, I want to make a couple comments about the way we are teaching this section in our co-requisite college algebra classes at Lone Star College-CyFair. I wanted to go ahead and leave the ebook and the PowerPoint available to you because there's many good things in there. But we are going to be skipping a couple things. So when you see this in the ebook or in the PowerPoint, just don't worry about it. And the videos have been chosen to avoid these things we're going to skip, and the homework assignment and the tests do not include any of these things. So as you're looking at the ebook, I'm going to say you want to skip what are called work rate word problems. Those have the form of two people or two machines or two other things working together to accomplish a task. We're just not going to look at those. And for the time being, we are also not going to look at equations with rational or fraction exponents. So that would be any equation, for example, that would have like an x to a 2/3 power. We're going to discover what those fraction exponents mean later in the course, so we're just putting it off for now. So those are two things that we are going to skip. Now, as you look at everything else that they talk about, I want you to make notice that there are two types of equations that they're going to discuss where you can result in what are called extraneous solutions, and so you have to do some checking. Up to this point, with linear equations, quadratic equations, and so forth, checking has always been optional. But in this section, you're going to see there are two kinds of equations where checking is not optional. And those two kinds of equations are rational equations. Now, a rational equation is simply an equation that has fractions where variables are in the denominator. So something along this line would be an example of a rational equation. When you solve those, you'll see in future videos that you potentially can get extraneous solutions that look like you've done everything mathematically correct, but they don't actually work. Now, the good news, and you'll see this pointed out, is that all you have to do is make sure that none of the possible solutions you come up with lead to division by 0 in the original equation. So, for example, if you solved this equation and you came up with x equal 2, that would be a problem because when you substitute 2 into the denominator of that equation, you'd be dividing by 0, which is undefined. So you'll see that in the videos. The other type of equation where you have to check are radical equations when the index of the radical is even. And here you have to literally check the possible solutions. So if you have an equation that has, for example, a square root over a variable and who knows what else you might have, once you get to the value of x, you know you're going to have to check. The index on this radical is 2 because it's a square root. You would have to check this one. Now it turns out that if the index of the radical is odd, like that, you don't have to check. But I think you'll see in the videos they sort of say, well, check it anyway just to make sure. So it's only when the index is even, like a square root or a fourth root. Much later in the course, we'll discover there's a third type of equation where you have to check your roots or your solutions because there may be extraneous solutions. And that third kind of equation is a logarithmic equation. And that is way far down the line. But if you can remember that, you'll see that in many, many weeks. Anyway, enjoy the videos, try all the homework, and let me know if you have any questions.